Hello and welcome to the First Lesson Guy channel. I'm the First Lesson Guy and we have another Sleep Token Sunday episode. Yes, episode 12. And we are in for a treat because we've got another music video, Alkaline, and we are going to be reacting to Distraction and Descending, which I'm really interested about. I've been talking about descending since the beginning, it feels like. So let's see what that one brings. Now, as you know, I always kind of have a little mini update of my theories. And if you aren't sure what I'm talking about, go and check out the other episodes. But I'm sure if you're here, you've probably seen them by now, hopefully. But what I want to discuss and talk about quickly is chemistry or alchemy, because it's really interesting about the next song being called Alkaline, because Carl Jung was really into alchemy. Um, and here's why. So, unconscious projection, Jung realized that when historical alchemists were trying to transform physical matter like lead into gold, they were unknowingly projecting their own unconscious psychological states onto chemicals into their glass retorts. Mapping the mind, he saw alchemical processes such as dissolving and combining as an exact visual and metaphorical mirror of his concept of individuation, the psychological journey of integrating conscious and unconscious aspects of the self to become whole. He considered alchemy to be a visionary form of psychology that existed long before modern psychoanalysis, effectively bridging ancient mysticism with modern understandings of the unconscious. So I just thought that that was really interesting how he used alchemy and he saw it as a symbol for integration with the human psyche. So I'm going to kind of bear that in mind, I think, when we go through Alkaline. As always, I've got the lyrics pulled up in front of me here. All right, first listen, Alkaline. Oh, there's our boy. He looks good. I really like that mask as well. Look at him just sitting there. I am no god, and yet he sits there like that. I'm joking.
Every once in a while, something changes, and she's changing me. It's too late for me
God, that synth in the background is awesome.
older. There is something beneath. She's not acid, no alkaline. Caught between black and white, not quite either day or night. She's perfectly misaligned. I'm caught up in her design and how it connects to mine. I see in a different light the objects of my desire.
Oh my God, I mean, that alliteration to begin with, stunning. The cadence, stunning. And it's like two ends of the spectrum again, isn't it? They're sort of very paradoxical. Um, Visually, really interesting as well. Okay, so you've got guys in hazmat suits with automatic weapons. And he's kind of just sitting there. So hazmat suits. So are they seeing him as some kind of infection to isolate themselves from? Because ultimately that's why you wear them, right? Although that guy isn't wearing any gloves, naughty boy. But in all seriousness, are they seeing him as an infection, uh, a severe infection if they've got weapons as well, looking to take him down? I don't know.
The objects of my desire.
Object of my desire.
Ooh, let's talk about chemistry, 'cause I'm dying.
drums and that riff.
echoes part like holy water. Anything, she's an undiscovered element, either born in hell or heaven sent. Either way, I'm into it.
Okay. Oh yeah. Two. Oh, the Matrix. Oh my God, this is such a sick video. And again, that was the beginning visual, right? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Um, okay. Right, let's go back before I start talking about the video. Let's just go through the lyrics. So every once in a while, something changes and it's changing me. It's almost like the unconscious. So if we go from the previous song, right, Fall for Me, and he's through the Jungian lens is starting to descend, right, as he walks into the ocean. He's starting to descend into the unconscious. Now, whether or not he's fully aware of it, probably not at this stage, but it's almost like he senses a change. This, following on from that, this here, I mean, let's talk about chemistry for starters. Chemistry is all about transformation, things um, physically changing, right? And the way that he uses this chemical language and symbolism through it actually blows my mind. I'm generally really excited to go through these. But where he says every once in a while something changes and it's changing me, it's almost like he is starting to understand that there's something within him that is starting to change, right? And it's happened before because he says every once in a while. So we've seen glimpse of this, but it's almost like now he's really starting to see the face of it through the unconscious thoughts. There is something beneath. Again, and he's used that in several songs within this album that there is something beneath, that he's noticed that there is something bubbling and has never been able to quite put his finger on it. And what is beneath your conscious? It's your unconscious, right? It's always there. And so these kind of emotions, feelings, of whatever they might be. He's always sensed that they've been there in the back of his conscious. And then she's not acid nor alkaline. Oh, I mean, if you're not acid and you're not alkaline, and alkaline is used to neutralize acid, so she's somewhere in between. And what's really interesting, actually, that represents exactly what I was just talking about, where you can't put your finger on it. He can't put his finger on exactly what she is. Now, again, you could say this is about a relationship, about this mystical, woman in his life that he's been obsessed with or, in love with, infatuated with. But you could also say this sounds a hell of a lot like an anema projection. All right. I don't know what this is. I don't know, uh, you know, seeing it through. a projection and then knowing what the real person is under that is transformation. Something is not aligning, something is not lining up. All right. And I don't mean this in any other way than the woman that he's projected on isn't meeting his expectations. And that's not through her fault. That's because that's what happens. Projections aren't real. He's not seeing the real person behind the projections. So she's not acid or alkaline, caught between black and white, not quite even day or night. She's perfectly misaligned. So she doesn't fit. Whatever this is doesn't fit in. Something's not quite right. You know, I'm caught up in her design and how it connects with mine. Oh, so you could say that he's trapped within the architecture here of this archetype, and how it connects to mine. And when you're possessed by the anema, everything starts to feel meaningful, right? So once you start noticing it and start understanding it and start integrating it within yourself, the bond becomes really, really strong and you start to understand it. Now, whether this is consciously or unconsciously, I don't know yet. I don't think he's at the conscious stage of this. I think this is all unconscious. If you take the visual kind of aspect of this, we're in a house, right? And a lot of people will um, uh, say that. I think NF actually uses on one of his albums the house about his mind being about his mind because he's obviously suffered with mental health, and I think that's what this representation is. So he vessel is at the core in his mind, and you have these people in hazmat suits and weapons that are trying to stop this transformation happening. It's almost like his ego. They play the part of his ego, and they have come into his psyche trying to stop this integration with the anema projection, and he's now starting to realize actually he needs to look within and push I've done it again, I've just hit my mic. Push the ego to one side in order to allow this integration and transformation to happen. I see in a different light the objects of my desire. So I see in a different light the objects of my desire. And notice how he doesn't say I desire her or I desire you, the objects of my desire. So it's like this is all sort of changing for him. You could say that the anema is almost reorganized his perception of everything because he sees it all in a different light. And then we go into let's talk about chemistry, and then he then just goes on this ride of chemical symbolism, which just blew my mind. I'm dying to melt through to the heart of her molecules. God, it's almost like he wants to dissolve the illusion to see what's truly there underneath. I'm dying to melt through to the heart of, to see the real essence, to see the real emotion behind, I guess, this, you could say, projection or person, um, to really kind of start integrating it till the particles part like holy water. Oh, I mean, there's got an element of like rebirth to this particular lyric, hasn't it? And could that be again the unconscious here talking about? Because I kind of feel like this is his unconscious kind of talking. She's an undiscovered element, either born in hell or heaven sent. So undiscovered element, he knows nothing. He doesn't know anything about her, right? It's something new to him, something that he will probably never truly understand, or at least needs to begin to understand. Either born in hell or heaven sent. What's really interesting is that Carl Jung always said that in order to integrate, you have to bring opposites together, and not see them as a battle against the opposites. It's actually about bringing the opposites together in order to then integrate. And there's a lot of that happening with this language here. Either way, I'm into it. So he's really interested. He's fascinated by this anema part of his psyche. So this is, I think, where Vessel actually stops projecting, and he's more fascinated by her. And when I mean by her, I don't mean as in the physical human being. I think he's fascinated by the unconscious thoughts that he's starting to realize are in his mind. And that is, if you're going from Fall for Me to where we are now, he's starting to realize that something is happening beneath the surface in the back of his mind, and he's willing to see it. And it's starting to intrigue him and fascinate him. So it's very, very early stages here, really early stages. Right, let's just go back because I want to just see some of this. This is brilliant, by the way. And what's interesting, so we had The Love You Want, where the part of his psyche, the enema, was controlling him by stabbing himself with the sword, but he had no control over that. What's interesting now with Alkaline is that he is in control here. So he's opening a door and wanting to let this transformation happen. Because if we're taking these guys in the hazmat suits as the ego trying to stop this transformation from happening, he's now saying, no, I'm not gonna let this happen again. I'm actually going to see, I'm going to push back. I think that's generally what's happening here. He's pushing back on that ego to let the unconscious and the anema start to integrate. Drumming, unbelievable. Wow. So good. Yeah, what a video. Oh God. So good. It was interesting that that thing was in a box. And interestingly, I think that is where the unconscious lives. And I think he's kept it in a box for all this time. And visually now he's lifted the lid and he's letting it open up and it's ripping apart the ego. God, that's such a cool. Yeah. It's just I'm overwhelmed by the poetry and the language and the symbolism that he's used and the theme of it with the sort of the chemical symbolism that he's used throughout this whole song is just he is so talented to be able to do that, and it's such a cool song. I'm definitely going to go and I think the Drumeo. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Two did a Drumeo version of Alkaline. If he didn't, he certainly did some kind of Drumeo. Sorry, if he didn't, he certainly did some kind of video, I think, to Alkaline. But yeah, brilliant. So let's crack on to Distraction. By the way, I'm definitely going to be having Alkaline on repeat. That song is an absolute banger. Right, let me just put up the lyrics for Distraction. There we go. Okay. 7,284 meters below. We are deep. What does the 422 stand for, by the way?
And I know I can tell I'm falling.
His voice, it's just so rich. No other artist can get me so emotionally involved within the matter of what 22 seconds of a song. No other artist can do that.
I can tell I'm falling further
What? Okay.
again,
Again, he loves that word.
but I won't turn away. It's far too late for me, 'cause I am broken into fractions.
Oh my God, that is such a big realization for him. I am broken into fractions. Wow. Yeah, that's a big, big realization, I think. And when he's talking about fractions, it's like your psyche kind of, your childhood, your relationships, your family, your work life, all these different kind of parts of your psyche and ego just goes like that all over the place, and you're left with the persona of what you believe you should be, and the anema projection is there almost like a bridge to try and help. You've got the psychopomp of sleep that draws you to the unconscious, and then you've got the anema that is in the unconscious that you use to project emotions onto a lover that you become obsessed with, because that is what you think you need to make yourself better, because they love you, they give you that kind of emotion back, when actually that's not what you need. Because once the fantasy starts to break down, because you're not loving the true person, that's when these fractions then come back to the forefront, and you have to realize that you need to start putting these back internally to and integrate them all to become your whole self again. So that line really, really just it stood out to me.
Oh, and I am driven to.
What's really interesting as well is this visualizer. It looks like something you would see under a microscope, right? With cells floating around, which is interesting coming after Alkaline. And are they dissolving? Could that be his ego starting to dissolve?
Distraction.
Oh, oh, that piano and the synths.
When days away, she is not.
I don't know if it's me, but I almost feel weightlessness, like I'm just floating as I'm almost sort of descending downwards. I don't know why I have that feeling with this song, but it's quite interesting.
Like any other. No, something more than I could ask for.
Oh, say it's too late for me. Oh my God. Right, let's just bring it back and go through some of these lyrics. So the chorus is, "Oh, and I am driven to distraction." So that's, he doesn't say I choose distraction or I am distracted. I am being driven by distraction. Is that what he's saying? I'm being driven to distraction. So what is driving him to distraction? And I think at this stage, it's the unconscious. because when the unconscious isn't integrated, it becomes obsessive. It becomes obsessive over someone, something, feelings, obsessed over fantasies, the projection. So is he now saying that this is all starting to become a distraction as the projection is starting to fall away? She's not like any other, something much more than I could ask for. Wow, so this is really about, I think, the projection here. I think he's starting to see the projection as a distraction because if we go from alkaline in his mind, he's starting to let the unconscious come in by telling the ego to stop, which were the people in the hazmat suits. But the distraction is still the anema projection, right? It's still this person that his body still feels because he's got all this love inside of him, the love you want, potentially. That is the distraction. It's still this anema projection that he is still latching onto, that he's still obsessed with. Possibly. With each and every interaction, it's too late for me. So you could say, um, with each and every interaction. Now, I don't think that's interaction with her per se. I think that could be interaction with his own psyche, that it's too late for me. It could be, well, actually, now that I've started to let the unconscious thoughts come into my mind and I'm starting to interact with it, it's too late. I've already seen what's inside my head for me to block it out any longer. Oh. It's almost like he's saying this is who I am now. I don't know. That's
I could ask for
too late for me. Oh,
'cause I am broken into fractions.
oh, those pads.
Oh, and I am driven to distraction.
He sounds exhausted as well.
With each and every
Too late for me. Piano is beautiful. Oh, oh dear. It's the end, right? God, that really hit me quite hard. I'm probably feeling a little bit more emotional today as well because it's my dad's birthday, who passed away 4 years ago now. So yeah, I just he popped into my mind. But anyway, there's my distraction there. Too late for me. I think this is a huge realization that he has always had this distraction in front of him, whether that's one person or several people over time. I don't know, but he sounds exhausted. And it's almost like now that he's realized that this is a distraction, but something has changed within him, and it's too late for him to unsee this. It's too late for him to go back to his persona, his safety that he always used. It's too late for that now. Okay, right. Let's go on to descending. All right. First listen, descending. So we are 8,194 meters below sea level. Whoa. Oh, that's deep and nasty.
Just take it all for nothing. I heard good.
First and foremost, there's like almost like interference at the in the back there, but it also sounds like creaking, and for some unknown reason, it's reminded me of being in a submarine. Not that I've ever been in a submarine, but from watching films where you're really, really deep down in the ocean and you just start to hear cracks, in the walls where all the bolts are. It's that kind of, from the pressure of being so deep. I don't know why that's just come into my head, but that's kind of where I was coming from. And then he is literally in your ear, whispering almost to us. God.
For nothing. I heard good. Create, release. You just don't feel the same. I asked, you answered, but you eat your words in first. And last, discover.
Oh, these pads are so deep. And then there's that kind of eerie voice again in the background. God, I'm loving this.
Last, discover. You can't recall my name. And I wanna let you
Oh. Oh, God, that hook is so good. That, as you, if you didn't see, that got me going. Right, oh God, when that dropped, man, he's making bangers here. Right, so lyrics, just take it all for nothing again. Oh. So it's like I give you everything, I give you my all, whether that's psychologically, physically, emotionally, and yet nothing has changed. It doesn't do it, it doesn't get me anywhere, right? Create, release, you just don't feel the same. Oh, so you could say here with this particular line that the kind of creative act, it doesn't, it's not fulfilling him anymore. You know, whether that's this kind of the relationship, it's not, you know, this for me is the strongest indication of the anema projection starting to collapse, hence why descending. Mhm. You know, I asked and you answered, but you eat your words in vain. So this to me, you eat your words in vain. It's almost like the communication now is starting to break down, and he isn't seeing her or being able to relate to her or even love her as clearly as he once did. Oh, at last discover you can't recall my name. I don't want to let you fall away. I've been left no choice. So at last discover you can't recall my name. Oh. So on the surface level, right, at last discover you can't recall my name. It's like it's like you don't know who I am anymore. You've forgotten who I am, as in the other person if they were in a relationship, right? It's kind of got so bad that she's forgotten who he is. But from a psychological standpoint, um, it's almost like he's saying, "Have I been so consumed by you, by this projection, that I've lost who I truly am? And I don't want to let you fall away." Because if she disappears, right, he has to face himself. And so that's why I think he's latching on here with distraction. You know, it's that he's knowing that this isn't right for him. It is a distraction, but his body still is longing for it, is longing for that emotional connection and love. And I think that's exactly what's happening here. I don't want to fall away. I don't want to let you go. I don't want to lose myself. But at the same time, he knows he has to. And that is the tragic thing about this is that can you imagine, right, going through your life, loving someone, knowing that they're not right for you, and what mental strain you end up losing yourself and becoming what you believe they want in order to make them happy. But because of this anema projection, you're only, you're not seeing the real person and you're not loving the real person, not through their own fault, through yours. And knowing that the relationship isn't right for you, as heartbreaking as it is, you have to leave it and look inside yourself, fix yourself first before you can then truly love someone. With Alkaline, it's almost like he was at a crossroads and unconsciously decided, no, enough is enough. I'm stopping you. But there's still a distraction there. Are we descending though into the unconscious? And is the anema projection starting to collapse? But I've been left no choice. You can call him back to me, but I'm already on the ground. I mean, I can't get any lower, right? You might be down here with me, but I was down here first. Now, whether that's through his own fault or the other person, I would imagine if we're using the Jungian lens, it's through his own fault because deep down he knows that he's hit rock bottom. Talk is cheap. Um, it's almost like words don't matter anymore. Um, they're just words. It's cheap. Whereas it's all about truth now. And it's whether or not he's willing to open up to the truth and accept it. Come on and save me now. See, this is the back and forth that I think happens in a lot of sleep tokens, and it's almost like a conversation either between him and a physical human being, or that he's in a relationship with, or a conversation internally within his own mind. Come on and save me now. He still thinks that the anema projection is the thing that is saving him, or this relationship at least is still the thing that he needs in order to save him. That is a tragic thing. He's just gone through this whole thing talking to himself, like saying, I know what I need to do, and yet he still comes back to her. You wonder what I believe, but you don't want to be around. Oh, ah, this is just a real turning point. You wonder what I believe, but you don't want to be around. This generally feels like now the projection has collapsed. He's realized this, and she has also realized this, as in the woman that he's projected on, and she doesn't want to be around anymore. And now he is facing abandonment. And I wonder what happened last time that happened. I know a lot of you in the comments were talking about self harm, going back to Atlantic. Is this the start of the cycle again? Is this what he's going to go through? Or will he be able to face the abandonment and look within? What would you do for me? See, this to me, this question, it feels desperate. What would you do for me? Am I enough? My love withers and chokes in perfect awe. I think that's all right. I think I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Those pads sound so good. What would you do for me? So I just want to go back to that. My love withers and chokes in perfect awe. It withers because it was built on perfect awe, which was never real. Which is insane, because if it was real love, right, it would grow, it would get better and better. You spend the rest of your lives with each other. But because it was built in awe, in idealization, in infatuation, fascination, obsession, of course it's going to choke. Of course it's not going to grow because it's not real. Just go back a bit. Oh, so why don't you just say what you wanted to say for once? So if you take that, because it's like a whisper, right? It's right in the back. And unless I had these lyrics in front of me, I wouldn't really know what it was saying. So for me, that's like the little voice in the back of your head, the unconscious, just saying, why don't you just say what you really mean, what you really want to say? Tell us how you really feel. So there's this voice now niggling in the back of his mind saying, open up, surrender, stop this projection, which is starting to collapse now. Like I'm almost certain of it with the language that he's using. You know, say what actually hurts. Say what you really, really need. Stop all this facade, this persona. So cleverly written. For once. For once. And by the way, you could easily, refer this to a relationship. They come calling back, but it's too late. Actually, you're only coming back because you feel bad. For me, out of pity, you actually don't want to hear what I want to say because you end up going and leaving me anyway. So, there is that whole kind of context, which I think generally is happening. But you could also say that this is then behind the scenes. This is the battle inside his mind that he's also going through at the same time that this is all playing out. So I don't think there is a divide here. I think it is all together. It's just which perspective are you kind of really focusing on? And that is the talent of this band. There are so many layers to it, and it can mean one thing one day, and then you feel a certain thing, or something happens in your life, an event or whatever, and then it can mean something totally different then. It's just incredible. It really, really is. And this song, by the way, again, these three songs have been absolute bangers. I would say they're kind of a little bit more commercial than their other songs. You could have these on repeat and not really kind of deep them too much just because they sound so great. Or we are definitely going deeper. God, it's amazing how sounds make you feel a certain way. Because for me, we are sinking. That sounds like Calcutta. Dun 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 dun. Oh, correct me if I'm wrong, but that really sounds like Calcutta. Ooh. Anyway, that was Descending. Yes. Right, well, three absolute bangers, an incredible music video with Alkaline. Alkaline for me is all about transformation, and he is starting to change within his mind. He's saying no to the ego. I'm open to letting the unconscious come in. Then you've got distraction, where he knows that the projection he's putting onto someone is a distraction, and he can't quite let go of it. And then you've got dissension, where the descending, where you've got the anema projection starting to collapse, and he's trying his hardest to latch onto it, but he's realizing that there's a breakdown here. Um, oh God, yeah, I just love him. I love him. Um, Anyway, that was episode 12. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. I really, really, really do appreciate every single one of you. Keep your thoughts and theories in the comments. I love discussing them. And let me know what your thoughts and theories were with these particular three songs, and where are we up to in your theory at the moment as well. I'm the first listen guy. That was my first listen of Alkaline, Distraction, and Descending. We'll We'll see you next Sunday. I love you and leave you.
Welcome to the show. I'm the first singer, taking it all in. Let the record play, let the journey begin.